You know that feeling when you're about to go on a weekend road trip and you stare at the floor, realizing you'll have to spend the next 2 days sweeping, vacuuming, and mopping before you even pull out of the driveway? I've been there more times than I'd like to admit, and the last thing I want is to waste money on a gadget that ends up sitting in a corner while I'm still hand-scrubbing the kitchen tiles. So before you click Add to Cart, let's walk through why the iRobot Roomba Combage 9 Plus might actually be worth the investment or why it could be a pricey paperweight. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the kind of cleaning routine this robot is built for. The Combage 9 Plus is a hybrid. It vacuums, it mops, and it does both without tripping over carpets. That sounds like a dream for anyone who lives in a 2-room apartment with mixed flooring, hardwood in the living area, low-pile carpet in the bedroom, tile in the kitchen. The real-world test I ran was a typical weekday morning. I set the robot on a schedule to start at 7 a.m., right after I get up. By the time I'm making coffee, it had already sucked up the pet hair shed from my dog's bed and given the kitchen floor a quick swipe with its mop pads. The vacuum side used the dual multi-surface rubber brushes, which seemed to keep the carpet from getting tangled, while the mop side performed a smart scrub that moves the pad back and forth with consistent pressure. The result? A floor that looked like someone had just run a quick pass with a traditional vacuum and mop combo, but without me lifting a finger. Now, the major selling point is the self-emptying base that also autofills the mop pad. For people who hate dealing with disposable bags, this is a genuine convenience. The Clean Base Autofill dock stores a full-size bag and a fresh mop pad, so after each cleaning cycle it automatically empties the captured debris into the bin and swaps in a new pad. In my experience, the bin held enough for a full week of cleaning in a modestly sized apartment before I needed to dump it. The autofill works best if the dock is placed in an open area, away from walls. If you have a narrow hallway or a cluttered pantry, the dock's sensors can sometimes misinterpret obstacles and skip the refill step, leaving the mop pad dry for the next run. That's something to keep in mind if space is tight. Who should definitely consider this machine? If you're a busy professional who works from home, a parent juggling kids and chores, or even a pet owner dealing with fur on both carpet and hard floors, the Combage 9 Plus can shave off at least an hour from your weekly cleaning routine. The Dirt Detective Intelligence feature maps out high-traffic zones and prioritizes them, meaning the robot spends extra cycles on the hallway where shoes track in dirt, then moves on to the bathroom tiles. For households that have a mix of flooring types and want a single device to handle them all, the ability to mop after vacuuming without needing to lift the robot is a real time saver. On the flip side, there are some practical drawbacks. The device is fairly large. Moving it onto the dock and around furniture can be a bit of a chore, especially if you have tightly packed furniture. The first few weeks I noticed the mop pads sometimes missed corners under low-profile furniture because the robot's retractable mop mechanism doesn't lower enough to get under a coffee table that's only a few inches high. Also, the autofill system isn't truly hands-free forever. You'll still need to replace the disposable bag and the mop pads every couple of weeks, depending on your usage. If you're looking for a set-and-forget solution that never needs any consumables, this model won't quite hit that mark. Another consideration is the learning curve. The robot's navigation is smart, but it takes a few cycles for it to map your home accurately. During that period, you might see it miss spots or go over the same area repeatedly. The app does let you set no-go zones and schedule cleaning windows, which is great once the map is solid, but that initial mapping phase can be a bit frustrating if you're eager to see immediate results. If you're someone who wants instant perfection out of the box, you may feel a little impatient. Now, let's talk cost versus value. The Roomba Combage 9 Plus sits in the premium tier of robot vacuums, and that price tag is justified only if you truly leverage the auto-empty and autofill features. In a house where you'd otherwise buy a separate vacuum and a mop, the combined price becomes more palatable. But if you already own a reliable stick vacuum and a basic mop, you might find the added convenience less compelling. The real value comes from the reduced need to manually empty the bin and replace mop pads daily. In a household with kids and pets, that hands-off feature